guys, my name is Kayla and welcome back to my channel. Been a little while since I've done a video. As always, that's just kind of the vibe here at all times. And today is like a horribly gloomy day and I can't find a location in my house that looks correct, so this will just have to do. But I wanted to do the mid-year freakout tag because that's like the best thing on BookTube. It's so much fun just to talk about some of the books you've read this year and all of that. So first, just like a couple statistics. It's July, it's like mid-July right now, and I'm mostly going to be talking about books I read pre-July, like the first actual 6 months of the year. But as of right now, I have read 23 books, which is a little under my goal. I wanted to have read, to stay on track for my original goal of 50 books, I need to have read 25 by July 1st. That's how math works. But didn't do that. I had a lot of really slumpy months. So, you know, yeah, got some little Storygraph statistics here. So 61% fiction, 39% nonfiction. My top genres are LGBT, which I don't really think is a genre, it's like a subgenre, but and romance, fantasy, young adult. I've read 43% audio, 39% print, and 17% digital. And my average rating is 4.25, which is crazy because, like, to me, I feel like my reading year has been kind of mid, like, but there haven't been a ton of 5 stars, but there also hasn't been anything under a 3, so it kind of balances out. I've definitely been like DNFing a lot of stuff if I feel like it's gonna be under a 3 or 3.5, or if I'm just not into it, I'll like put it down and come back to it later. So I think that helps, but yeah, with only reading 20 something books, I'm like, I'm not gonna waste my time on something that I don't think I'm gonna really love. So, but yeah, so let's get into the questions. Number 1, best book you've read so far in 2024. That's hard because, like I said, not a lot of 5 stars, and some of them were like, I think I gave like a poetry book 5 stars, which, yes, but sometimes I like look back at that and I'm like, but it's a poetry book, it didn't really stick with me, that should be like a 4.5, but whatever. But my favorite, I read a really good nonfiction that I gave 5 stars, and that is The Writing of the Gods by Edward Dolnick. And I listened to that on audiobook. It tells the story of the race to decode the Rosetta Stone. Just a really, really well done, like, nonfiction about linguistics and history, which are things I love. So really, really love that if you're looking for like a really good nonfiction. It's kind of long, but it's just so good. It's like very dramatic and you're rooting for people, and I just really love that. And then my favorite fiction book is probably The Honeys by Ryan LaSala, which follows this character who it's about grief, like their twin sister died and they are trying to figure out what happened, and then it kind of goes completely off the rails. It's like magical realism, but I would say it even pushes into like full-on kind of fantasy horror. It's just really beautiful, and it's just a young adult book about grief, which is just something I really love. And yeah, I technically finished this on July 1st, but I read 90% of it in June, so it counts as a book I read halfway through the year. But yeah, I really love this, and I'm interested to see what Ryan LaSala does next. I was like checking up on them, and I'm like, give me more books. I think there are more books, but you know what I mean. Best sequel you read so far. I haven't read a ton of sequels, actually, so I would say book 2 of the Wayward Children series by Sean McGuire, Down Among the Sticks and Bones. I really enjoyed book 1, but book 2 was like incredible. Book 1 I gave like a 4, and this is like a 5 star for sure. Like, this could have been my favorite book of the year, but because I was gonna talk about it in question 2, I didn't mention it. But yeah, so this I really loved. This is gonna come back again multiple times through this thing. Number 3, new release you haven't read yet but want to. There's a lot. I don't stay super on top of new releases. I tend to kind of put them in my like want to read pile on Storygraph, and then ask for a lot of them for Christmas, and then use my Christmas money to get them. But one that I know I really want, and I might have to get it, is Wandering Stars by Tommy Orange. I don't even know what it's about, other than he always writes about Native American stuff, but There's one of my favorite books of all time, so I'll just read anything that Tommy Orange does, and the cover's just like beautiful. I'm gonna put a picture here, and like I need that, and I need to read it. And I also have some books that I own that have come out recently, but I wouldn't say I'm like super invested in reading them right now. Then most anticipated release for the second half of the year. This was actually really hard. Richard Osman has a book coming out soon that I'm pretty interested in. I love the Thursday Murder Club, so, you know, but the one that I put down because I feel like a lot of people haven't talked about it, and I'm actually really excited about it. I saw it in like a TikTok or something. Someone was just talking about books that are coming out soon that they're really excited about or that they really loved, and it's called The Wedding People by Alison Espash. But it says a propulsive and uncommonly wise novel about one unexpected wedding guest and the surprising people who must start anew. And it's basically about this young woman who goes to a hotel in Newport, Rhode Island, which is where I went to college, so interested in books that take place there, to end her life. And there's like a wedding happening, and I guess she gets pulled into the lives of the people thing, and it's about, you know, saving people even if you don't know them, and life and all of that. So I'm interested in that. It seems like one of those books that's gonna make me like cry, and I love to cry. Biggest disappointment? I don't usually finish things that I find disappointing, so I have some like DNFs of books that I was really excited about that I didn't finish, like Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. I really loved Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, so I was kind of disappointed that I just wasn't connecting with that. I started Kindred by Octavia Butler, and I started on audiobook, so I do want to get a physical copy and try that, because sometimes the narrator is just not it. But I was really disappointed by not loving that instantly. So but I would also say one that I did finish and was disappointing was Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan. Everybody had raved about it, and I read it, and it was beautifully written, but I just didn't care. I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel like the book was about anything, which is like a genre book I love, but like the way people had talked about it made it seem like it was about something, and it set things up like it was gonna say something about anything, and I felt like it just presented information, which again, fine, but it wasn't what I expected from it. So I definitely want to try another Claire Keegan book and like maybe go into it with like find one that nobody's mentioned and go into it with like lower expectations, because I hate having your expectations like super high and being disappointed. I'd rather know nothing and know what no one thinks about anything. So biggest surprise, on the other hand, I would say was Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I feel like the last 2 years my biggest surprise has been like romance novels, because I'm just not a romance novel girly in general, like, which is funny because I do read a lot, but generally I like the plot to be more than just romance. So, and also like being a lesbian, like I don't always care about men in romance novels, you know? If they're really well written, that is whatever, but sometimes I'm just like, I can't relate to anything going on here. But Bride by Ali Hazelwood, never read Ali Hazelwood, thought I would have assumed I would hate her, honestly, and I just loved it. I just thought it was really beautiful romance. It was so well written, it was so funny, the plot was really interesting, like it just hit like everything that I wanted from a romance novel, and I actually really want to read more Ali Hazelwood, which I never expected to be a thing I would say. So favorite new author is hard, because the only author I've read multiple books from this year is Seanan McGuire, and I technically read Myra Grant books, so she's not really a new author, but she counts, definitely her. So two authors that I've only read one book from, but I really want to see other books by them. Like I've had other books from them on like wish lists and stuff before is Joshua Whitehead, who he wrote Johnny Appleseed. I want to read that. I started listening to the audiobook of that and again didn't connect to it. Was just like, there's a lot of stuff about young people's sexual awakening, which I find sometimes uncomfortable to listen to in audiobook form. I don't know why. And then the other one is Ashley Poston, because I read the 7-Year Slip, which again, technically in July, but I wanted to include her because I really loved that book, and I will probably talk about it in a wrap up because I actually have a lot to say on that. And I know she just had a book come out, like a novel love story or something like that, that also sounds really good. So hopefully I'll read that this year and maybe she will become a new favorite author. She just has a really like beautiful prose. I just like the way she writes. And then newest fictional crush. I am not one of those people who's like, I don't have a fictional crush. I absolutely have a fictional crush. Like, that's so much fun. Like, I can crush on boys and girls because they're not real. But this year I only have crushes on fictional girls. But the number one is Jack from Wayward Children series. Oh my god, she is everything. She was like completely my type. Obsessed with her. And then the other one would be Ari from You Again. She's just so like quirky and ridiculous and the type of person where I'm just like, we would just be friends and I would be a little bit in love with you and it would be great. Newest favorite character, again, I'm gonna go with Jack and Jill from the Wayward Children series. It's hard when it's not like a series to get super connected to a character and have them be your favorite unless it's like a big chunky guy or whatever. But yeah, I really love both of them. They're twins and they are unhinged in completely different ways and I love them. They're just such good characters. Book that made you cry. Most books make me cry. If I give it like above a 4, it probably made me cry. I would say the biggest cry of the year was A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. That book was incredible. It's technically a children's book, I think, but absolutely incredible. It deals with grief and death, and I literally like finished the book and just like sobbed. So yeah, that was a big one. Book that made you happy. That was like hard because most books kind of make me happy, but I'm like, what book makes me happy as the main emotion? And I couldn't really think of anything, but I went with You Again by Kate Goldbeck. It just was like, just a happy, cozy, you know, like they're wearing like coats and fall leaves. It just felt like that, like just cozy romance, and it was just really well done and really sweet. But yeah, other books that made me happy, I'm like, that has not really been the vibe this year. And favorite book to movie or TV show adaptation. I haven't seen a ton, I haven't been watching a ton of like TV or movies actually at all. So, and then the ones I haven't been adaptations, and the ones that have been adaptations I haven't necessarily read the book, but I really enjoyed this season of Bridgerton. That book is like one of those books that when I think about Colin and Penelope, I'm like, I don't care, but then I actually do really love them because of the way they're done. And I thought this show, especially in the second half, did so well with them. And then I'm not gonna get into like spoilers because I genuinely think you should watch it even if you haven't read the books. The John and Francesca's my favorite character in the whole Bridgerton series. So to get to see, and in the books you don't get to see her like marriage to John and how they met and all that stuff, and they're just so lovely, and everything that happens with Francesca is like incredible. And again, I don't want to get into spoilers, but that was incredible, and I felt like there was a lot. This season was just really good. And then also Interview with the Vampire season 2 is, I read that book probably when I was like 14, so I don't remember like how faithful it is to it, but I don't care. That is literally the best show on television right now. If you're not watching Interview with the Vampire, get it together. Like, watch it, pirate it. It's gonna be on Netflix soon, I think. Like, you need to be watching that. It is the way they like, I've seen the movie a couple times from the 90s, so much better. Like, everyone is just better. Like, especially Louis. It's just so good. Like, it's just, the casting is incredible. The acting is some of the best I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's just perfect. And next season is going to go into the Vampire Lestat book, where Lestat is a rock star. And I am ready for that. Most beautiful book you bought so far this year, or see. Honestly, I haven't gotten a lot of books this year. I've been trying not to buy a ton. And then my birthday is in December, so I don't get books for holidays until it's just like birthday, Christmas, book time. But I would say Familiar by Leigh Bardugo is very beautiful. I love like a sprayed edge situation, and I really like this whole thing in there. I haven't read this and I haven't heard great things about it, so I don't know when I will. I might go with the audiobook, like a tandem read, audiobook and physical, because that's often easier to get into. But she's a beautiful writer, so it's not gonna be like miserable. I can't imagine giving it less than a 3. But yeah, but I love that. Like, it's just so cool, and it doesn't come off on your... I'm always like paranoid with the black sprayed edges that it's gonna somehow come off on my fingers, but it's not. This is not, I think I've talked about this before, but this is not a book that I got this year. I got it for Christmas last year, but like, this is gorgeous, and I just saw it behind me. But yeah, the Mysterious Affair of Styles by Agatha Christie. Yeah, if you haven't seen this, just got it. Incredible. And then the last question is always the most insane. It's like, which books do you need to finish by the end of the year? Like, all of them? The multiple books I'm in the middle of? What am I, like, literally, like, what am I reading right now? Currently reading Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. I started a reread of When He Was Wicked. I'm reading Haunting of Hill House. All of that. I keep telling Libby to like deliver later with the audiobook of The Last Devil to Die, so I think next time it comes through I might actually get it, because I love to do like a tandem read with that, because the narrator's incredible. But this is the last one and I'm like putting it off. And then I really would love to finish If We Were Villains by ML Rio. She has a new book coming out that sounds kind of interesting, but I haven't even finished this, and I literally started it, I want to say in 2022. So maybe really early 2023. But yeah, I'm like halfway through it. I think I don't want to reread the whole thing, but I might have to back up a little bit. It wasn't like connecting with me at the time I was trying to read it. So yeah, I'd really love to finish that this year. Yeah, just in general, I like to try and finish the books that I got for Christmas the year before Christmas, but I always fail. So we'll see. Mostly I'd love to try and average like 3 or 4 books a month going forward, and just keep reading books that I really enjoy and keeping that average rating up higher, because that's really exciting. And yeah, so this is fun, and hopefully I will be posting. I filmed an unhaul, and I want to film like my however many months it's been since last time I did a wrap-up, a little wrap-up of everything I've read, probably at the end of July. So yeah, hopefully those will actually come out soon, and I will edit this soon and post it soon. Thank you so much for watching.